So that sound you hear in the background is not waves crashing on the shore. That is actually the sound of your round crashing to a halt on Kaho Hole 8 because you can't make it inside the little island there. So this video is going to show you some strategies on how to do well on Kaho Hole 8. But to do that, we actually need to visit a different course, and that is Kaho Backwoods. Now, the reason we're going to do that is going to become apparent very shortly here. And so to do that, I'm actually going to start off with discs that most newer players should have. I've got my accurate windbreak fuse, which can be earned at Harrowing Woods, and then a few other discs that you should be able to acquire by getting 2 or 3 stars on most of the beginner courses. So the accurate turn explorer, a wind glide musket, which I think you can get a wind musket, but that's not a big deal. And then a glide turn recoil. Again, not a great disc, but it's serviceable. So this round, I'm actually going to play at double speed. And you'll notice I reset a little bit because I'm not used to using these discs. Because although this round is important, it's not the crucial component of this video. So you'll see these first few times I'm throwing this, I'm trying to get used to the recoil because I have not thrown a turn recoil in I don't know how long. That was actually, I did not get a ballista until level 60 something. So from level 20 to level 60, my main driver was this glide turn recoil. But that has been hundreds of levels ago since I've used that one. All right, so we got a birdie on hole 1. Hole 2, because it is a turn, I'm gonna have to play it on a little hyzer. And again, my goal here is actually not to get 3 stars. It's to get 2 stars. And this is, I think, what a lot of people miss by not checking the announcements and the facts on the Facebook page. And if you haven't been to the Facebook page, please, please, please do so. There's tons of informative people and informative pages and announcements and posts and videos that will just, I mean, they'll improve your game a ton. So we're 3 for 3 here. And again, my goal is to only get a 27, which I believe is just a 6 under. And you will see, because the disc we are going to acquire, if you don't know what disc that is, and that is actually my daughter and her friends screaming in the background, so apologize for that. So the goal here is to get the 2-star disc, which is what we are going to use on Kaho hole number 8. Now, this particular hole here, I kind of put myself in a little awkward position. And so I'm going to try to punch through. And this is a par 5, so all you're trying to do is birdie it. But if I can somehow eagle this one. Now, one of the things, since I'm only trying to get 2 stars, this one right here, you'll notice I actually made this one for eagle. But I'm going to count that as a bonus stroke because you don't have to birdie every single hole. And so I'm going to keep a tally down there of bonus strokes. So if you did not make that, didn't get eagle, you can get a birdie on that and you're just fine. Now you do need to get birdies on the first 3, but if you only birdie that hole 4, you're fine. All right, hole 5. This is actually just a musket hole. Even normally, like I love throwing an accurate windbreak musket. This is a forehand, it'll slide right down here. And pretty easy shot. So even this one right here, uphill, 32 feet. These, you should be putting that every single time. It should be an easy, easy, easy shot. All right, as we start to get into these later holes, the difficulty does step up a little bit because there's more danger you can run into. So for example, hole 6 here, you need to get it up over the wall, which is fine. But if you leak a little too far right, you can get behind those bushes and those trees. And like that right there, that is not a good range there, 72 feet. And the basket's a little elevated, which is why I missed short right there. That's a pretty common miss for a lot of people because they don't realize it's a slightly uphill shot. So right there, notice what I did. I actually parred that one. No big deal. That's not a problem. And then this one is really, really dangerous if you don't have the right plastic because it's easy to go right up the hill, like right here. If you are going up there, that is not where you want to be. You'd like something a little more overstable to go left, or hopefully what's going to happen right here when I unpause this is it's going to skip and roll down the hill, which it did. So even there, again, I'm 108 feet here, and I missed that one. I'm still okay. So I've got 1 bonus throw in with the eagle, and I've missed the last 2 holes, and I'm still okay to get where I want to go. That's the beauty of only needing 2 stars instead of 3. And so that was a little further than I wanted for my par, but we'll take it. So right now I'm 2 pars in, and then hole 8. This one I consider a pretty challenging hole because depending on your skill set and the discs you have, this is not an easy par 4 to get. And so I played a kind of a big hyzer out here to the left, and there's a path up to the middle and a little to the right. But for right now, we're just going to try to throw through these trees. And I'm actually going to count this one also as a bonus. So if you are somehow able to get this one through the gap, down here and don't go too far, and you somehow are able to get the birdie out of this, I'm gonna call this one a bonus too. So based on my score, that was a bonus eagle. I've got a bonus birdie right there. That's great. But I don't need those, and I've got 2 pars to go with that. And we're almost home free now going into hole 9. I'm just sitting in a position where all I need on hole 9 is to get a birdie, which being a par 4, you don't have to get hyper aggressive. So my goal here is just to kind of put this on hyzer, punch it through the trees a little bit, get myself within 150 to 200, anywhere in that range where I can kind of poke it through with my mid-range. And so I am 162, perfect. And so here I'm going to be careful not to go too far. And so I'm just going to play a nice little easy slide up here. No point doing anything crazy. And then I've got my birdie. And that is exactly the score I needed. So my goal here on Kaho Backwoods was to get a 27. I got a 24, so I am way, way, way ahead. And so I was counting the fact I needed a birdie was ignoring those 3 bonus strokes I got. So the eagle, and then the 2 other throw-ins. Well, I should say the 1 other throw-in and the par 4 birdie. So now, the purpose of that was if you're able to get 2 stars on Kaho Backwoods. So if you haven't done it already, you should do it immediately. Is the disc you get is this disc right here. The Accurate Windbreak Explorer. Not only is it pretty, it's super effective. It's a great fairway driver to get, and it is actually the key to doing well on a lot of holes, and specifically doing well on the Kaho hole number 8. So now what we're going to do is we're going to head over to Kaho hole 8 with that new disc, and we're going to check out to see how it works. Now, just to be clear, the Accurate Windbreak Explorer is not the only disc to use, but I think it's the best one for what I do. Now, your aim point on forehand is you're going to put the middle arrow, the bottom tip of it, just to the middle of the 3 on the 342. From there, you want to slide your aim point out about halfway between the basket and the tree, the first tree you see out on the left. So I'll do this several times to show you guys the aim spot. And you can always rewind the video to check it out. So again, middle arrow, the tip, just in the middle of the 3, and then move it about halfway out. Now that's in a neutral wind, so you might have to tweak it a little bit. So again, right here, middle arrow, middle of the 3. And then now I've got a left to right wind of 2. So what I'll do is I'm gonna aim out to the middle, but to counter the effects of that 2, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put this on a little anhyzer. So notice I aim a little bit down to the right to turn the disc over. And my goal is for the disc to slide in front of the basket. Like, you don't wanna be deep in the basket, because then you're running the risk of going long into the water. And so for 2 for 2, and this is not always gonna work. I'm hoping to get a strong headwind, hopefully a 3 ahead or a cross headwind soon, to show you guys when it will not work. So again, we'll do it one more time. So again, Accurate Windbreak Explorer, middle tip arrow, middle of the 3, aim it out a little to the left, halfway between the basket and the tree. Now the wind of 2 there, I'm okay with. I'm just gonna pull back straight, but what that'll have a tendency to do is sometimes go a little bit long. So notice that worked out pretty well, but I wanna be a little bit closer to the front end of that OB, because if you're right at the basket, you never know, you could get a kick and kick OB long. And then you're re-teeing, which is not fun. All right, so we'll do it again. Again, tip of the arrow, middle of the 3, out wide. So now here, check out, we've got a headwind of 3. This one sucks. The Explorer, you can get it there, but it's just not consistent. So I'm gonna go ahead and throw my normal disc. I'm gonna put it on a little turn, but I'm almost positive this will not make it to the basket just because of the way it's set up. And so if you watch this one, yeah, and that's even wider left. I thought it'd be short, which actually that kind of had the distance well over the top. So that is the problem you run into with the Explorer. If there's a strong headwind, you're gonna have to adjust a little bit. So I'm gonna try a few different shots. We'll do that shot again with a little turnover, and way short. I shouldn't say way short because it did hit the wall, but that is a little short. We can try, let's see, maybe aiming a little higher with the musket. And see, the problem with the musket is too strong. So notice that might stay on. Nope, and that skipped over. So there's the problem. I think the Explorer works really, really well for almost all situations except for when you've got a strong headwind like this. So we can always try like maybe aiming out wide, but even if you aim out wide, that headwind is still gonna knock it down, so you might not. Yes, even there I didn't make it out there. A lot of times what I'll do is, in my main bag, if I don't throw the Explorer, sometimes I'll throw a river, because the river does not dive as hard right with the forehand. It'll just go straight, or even throw a backhand river just to aim out at the wide side, like way out here. And that was just an awful shot. I don't know what other way to describe that one. So what options do you have then if you don't throw the Explorer? Now remember, we already got the Explorer from doing 2 stars on Kaho Backwoods. That's fine. My suggestion is to try to look for some other discs you have in your bag. And again, every bag is different. So my advice would be to maybe switch to a Pioneer, because a Pioneer is nice and overstable. You got to be careful with the Pioneer though, because it can be a little too much disc. And so I'm going to throw in my Accurate Windbreak Musket. I don't know if we'll use it, but we'll throw it in there anyways. And then another one that you will get early if you get 3 stars on some of the early courses is the Accurate Glide Pioneer. I actually prefer the Accurate Windbreak, but I'm going to throw the Accurate Glide in there because that is a disc that you can get pretty easily. I don't remember which course you get that on, but that is definitely a disc you can acquire pretty early. And so what we'll do is we'll take those discs. So we've got the Explorer, we've got the Accurate Windbreak Musket, and then the Pioneer. So let's take those back out there and see if they give us any more success. And we'll just play the random winds that get thrown at us. But if I don't get headwinds, I'll restart until I get the winds I want. So we'll go back, wind of 2. So again, middle arrow, middle, and that's a wind of 2. I just throw it out wide. And again, my goal is to get it between the basket. So that's actually a little deeper than I wanted. I mean, that worked out really well, but perfect shot for me is before the basket, between the basket and the front side of that OB. But that one, the ground is kind of undulating there. It's not even, so a lot of times it'll just hit something and stop. It very rarely skips long. So same thing here. Now, wind of 3, I got to be a little more careful. Now, I did something very subtle there. I aimed a little higher. By aiming a little higher, you're causing the disc to kind of crash down a little early. It affects the distance a little bit. And so that one, though, went a little bit long, which is to be, I mean, that's to be assumed if you got a kind of a tailwind of 3, it's probably going to go a little longer than you would normally want it to. So let's see if we can get one of those annoying headwinds. So wind of 1, that's just, now right here, I'm going to show you what happens if you accidentally do something incorrect. Now that one right there, that one worked out pretty well, so it's in front of that. What happens if it's a neutral wind of 1 and you think, okay, well, I want to be safe, I don't want to be short, I'm going to put a little bit of turn on, a little bit of Anheuser, and force it over. You got to be careful when you do that, because even with the Explorer, you could have a tendency to go too long. So for example here, so wind of 3, let's go ahead and do, so this one I'm going to have to do a little bit of turn to counter that wind of 3. And that should dive hard. And a lot of times with the wind of 3, you'll skip long. Sometimes it'll be outside putter range. So 56 feet. That's another thing I'm assuming if you are trying to birdie this consistently, that your throw-ins from 50, 60, 70 are semi-consistent. So I don't have to go through any tutorials with that. So let's see what else we can get thrown at us. So wind of 1. All right, so let's watch what happens here. So if I aim out to the side, what if I do this and I pull it down a little to the right? What I'll have a tendency to do is go a little, now see, that one didn't. Maybe I need to turn it a little more. I'm just trying to show you that even with a neutral wind, it's not just a free pass, like it's an automatic birdie. Like you still can mess it up. Let's see if we can try that one more time. Again, I want a very low wind. There we go, wind of 1. And so again, I'll aim to the side and right here. So boom, see how I'm aiming down and to the right. You gotta be really careful when you do that, because hopefully this is what I meant to do last throw, is it'll turn a little bit and then it'll go deep of the basket. See, like right there, I do not want to land there. See right here, if you are landing deep of the basket, you're better than a coin flip, but there's a chance that it could skip long and go right out of bounds, which that one did. And so that's the problem. Just don't automatically assume you can put it on any angle you want and it's just going to stay in bounds. So I'm going to rethrow that one, but instead of doing the turn, notice I'm pulling straight back, aiming at the same spot I've been aiming the whole time with the Explorer. Middle arrow, middle of the 3, halfway between the basket and the tree. Hey, that rhymed. That was cute. I'm kidding. I know I'm an idiot. All right, so what we're gonna do now, I think you guys got a feel for the normal shots. Let me go ahead and do a couple of restarts here to see if we can get a more favorable wind for what I want to try, which is a crappy headwind. And wind of 3, that's not great, but I think we'll go ahead and throw that one because that's not a gimme. Gotta be careful with that one because that will go long. So again, that's pretty good. And even that one, so notice if I was behind the basket, that most definitely would have skipped out of bounds. So that's why you really want to aim for that sweet spot that's before the basket, but behind the front wall. So let's get some harder winds here. See, wind of 1, that ain't doing it. Let's restart that. Again, we're looking for kind of an annoying wind, preferably something maybe a 3 headwind. Nope, that ain't gonna work. Wind of 1, wind of 2. I probably could have thrown that one, but wind of 1, nope. Hopefully this doesn't take too long or I'm gonna have to fast forward. Wind of 3, but that's more of a crosswind than anything else. Okay, here we go. So this is kind of an annoying, not necessarily a total headwind, but that is a challenging 3. So let me show you first the Explorer. So the Explorer can get there. You just have to aim. Notice I'm a little lower. So I'm aiming actually a little under that 3, and that's got a chance to make it. Get up, get up, get up. So right there. So I did make it, but your margin for error is so small that that is just such a risky shot. So here's the example with a Pioneer. I'm gonna aim a little bit higher and much further left, and I'm gonna put a little turn on it. Now I have to be careful on this one because this is an accurate glide Pioneer, so this could very, very, very easily go long. And again, that one went, didn't go deep in the basket, but even there, it wanted to skip OB. Glide discs just have a tendency to want to skip a little more. And so if you're having to throw the accurate glide Pioneer or any Pioneer, you're going to have to hit longer throw-ins. So like that one was 81 feet as opposed to 50 or 30 or 20. So there you go, slightly longer video, but hopefully that gives you some strategies about what discs to acquire and what ways you can tackle hole 8 on Kaho Park without it crashing and ruining your round. And again, the key to it is acquiring that disc right there, the orange accurate Windbreak Explorer, which will help you on Kaho 8 and a large number of other holes. So hopefully you enjoyed this. If you have any suggestions for other individual holes that I could tackle to give you guys some assistance, I will let you know. And so now you know that when you run into this scene, you don't have to flip out and assume your round is going to crash and burn like it has been up to this point.